Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about bulking and cutting. Today's video is not going to be about when to start and stop your bulks and cuts. It's going to be about when you don't need to do that anymore, when you can basically maintain what you've earned as far as your goal of getting the body you want and also still be able to make progress without needing to bulk and without needing to cut. It's possible to make progress from day one without ever having to focus on bulking, without ever having to focus on cutting. If you make that the goal though, meaning if you have that idea stuck in your head where you want to gain muscle and you want to lose fat at the same time, and that's all you want to do, chances are that years down the line, you're going to be somewhat disappointed with where you wind up. The reason is this: bulking helps you gain lean muscle. Lean muscle shapes your body, right? It's not about getting the physique you want by dieting down to a certain size or by, it's really not about dieting down to a certain size, because let's face it, that's what most people want to do. They want a certain physique, and more often than not, when you're getting into the bodybuilding world, it's about leaning out at some point. It's about having lean muscle on your frame and being able to enjoy it and be mostly comfortable with the not needing to be more hungry than you'd like to be. So that getting there, it does require work. And you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. You can do that, but if that is your focus all the time, you're going to be selling yourself short. The bulking process is what helps you have more lean muscle on your frame. Yeah, sure, like the first year, I want to say, you're going to have gained lean muscle just by working out, but why would you sell yourself short and not focus on making sure that you have enough mass on your frame to gain lean muscle? Now, say you're at the point where weight loss is a priority, cool. Focus on weight loss as a priority. You'll still wind up gaining lean muscle as long as you eat nutritiously and you train properly. But then once you've lost the weight that you're looking to lose, and after you maintain for a little bit, you'll probably still want to get into a bulking cycle. And the reason is this: if you don't, while you still can gain muscle over a period of time, like for the long run, you will greatly reduce your chance of having more lean muscle on your frame, and then you'll wind up looking for the next fix, dieting down or maintaining, dieting down or maintaining. Say this is basically an example of having all your variables in control, and you're able to lose the weight that you want to, and you get to the body weight you want, and now all of a sudden you don't need to bulk because you've gotten to the body weight that you want. So naturally you're going to be able to just focus on lean muscle gain without bulking. You still got to do it. Cutting, on the other hand, kind of a pain in the butt, right? Once you've done both of these cycles, anytime you take your body out of homeostasis, it's going to be challenging, it's going to be hard on your system, it's going to be hard on you, it's kind of a pain. The truth is this: we look for certain kinds of results, right? Without PEDs, as a natural athlete, you're going to want to be comfortable with the results that you've gotten, reaching your genetic potential, essentially. The truth is that the way that you want and or think you're going to look in 1 year's worth of training is most likely the way that you're going to look within 5 years. And the reason is this: during those 5 years, that's when you can put a lot of muscle on your frame. And the only way to do that is to go through these periods where you're bulking and cutting, because each time you cut, you make room for another mass gaining phase. And each time you bulk, obviously, you can use that mass to have more lean muscle on your frame. So the answer to this question, to put it simply, is that for most people, after year 5, you could start to think about when you don't need to bulk or cut anymore. And this is where the answer is going to be different depending on who you are, where you're at, and what your goals are, right? Your genetic ceiling, in order to reach it, you want to be training for about 10 months consistently. If you've had a gap of, say, more than 3 months worth of training, you can sort of consider getting back into, say, a gain or loss phase. But if you've been training for 5 years consistently and you've gone through these phases where you've focused on mass and you've focused on making room for the next bulking cycle by focusing on leanness, after 5 years, you essentially get to a place where you're not going to make I'm sorry to say it, but it's true, you're not going to make a ton of progress anymore. You can continue to change your physique for the next, say, 5 to 20 years pretty comfortably, actually, but you're not going to make like those newbie gains that you made in year 1. You're not going to see your body change dramatically like you did in years 2 through 5. So after year 5, I feel like it's that time to think about where you want to take this thing. For those who are interested in reaching their genetic ceiling and trying to scratch the surface and see how much further they can get, you want to get in at least 10 years of consistent cycles of bulking and cutting. Now, I realize this is taking it to the extreme. I'm talking about doing it in a competitive fashion, whether you choose to step on stage or not, meaning like competing to take your body to the absolute max, like what it can do on its own if you push it as far as you possibly can. How much muscle can you truly hold on your frame? It takes a solid 10 years to start to scratch the surface of your genetic ceiling. And then honestly, this is kind of exciting for those who are interested in taking it to extreme, years 10 through say years 25 of consistent training, you can still use bulking and cutting to your advantage to maximize the amount of lean muscle that you can put on your frame. And at different points in time, you focus on putting muscle in different parts of your frame, whether it's upper body, lower body, whatever. But it's not going to change all that much between years 5 through years 10. It's going to hardly change between years 10 to years 25 as far as like your body really change. So in other words, you can essentially consider between years 5 to years 10, you can consider slowing down the bulking and cutting and still body recomp, where you're slowly building muscle and slowly losing fat, and at some point most likely maintaining, right? You need to just work to maintain what you have than not. And in short, I guess it's a matter of doing that, and then at any given point in time, you can push it for like, say, another 10 to 20 years after you've gotten in your 5 years of training intelligently, eating nutritiously, and going through proper bulk and cutting phases. Here's the interesting part. If you're one of those individuals who have focused on just trying to maintain a certain body weight for the first 5 years, at any given point in time, like it was like, I'm not in the mood to bulk, I'm not in the mood to cut, or I'm just not comfortable with seeing my body at those different sizes. I get it. Believe me, I understand. I've been there. I'm kind of there myself right now. I'll probably be there again. It doesn't go away. Sometimes we can't put the work in, or we just don't want to put the work in. Whatever the reasons are. Maybe in our lifestyle, maybe due to our lifestyle, it's just not possible. Whatever the case, in your first 5 years, if you have not focused on bulking and cutting, well, you can always toss that in later and still reap the reward. So it doesn't matter if you've been training for, say, a decade consistently, you can always look to add in a bulking and cutting cycle in the future, whenever you'd like, really. But I suggest to throw around 5 years worth of effort into the mix with trying to change your body. As uncomfortable as it is to take your body out of homeostasis and see it at different sizes, and also go through like the pain of dieting down or eating up, because it is a pain. It's worth it to, I would say, put a solid 5 years, and preferably your first 5 years. And then at some point, you can focus on maintaining what you have and still body recomp for a very long time. Hopefully you found this interesting, informative, helpful. If you have anything else you want us to talk about, let us know. We look forward to you watching our future videos. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested in seeing what else we have to talk about. Hit the like button if you liked it. Comment. Let us know what kind of bulking and cutting cycles you've gotten into and where you're at now in your journey. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and we'll be happy to answer them.